When you get a puppy from us, you can rest assured that you are getting a quality but also a very healthy puppy. Our standards for testing our breeding dogs is at the highest level to ensure that the dogs that we are pairing together are not only health screened, but that it is giving the puppies that they produce the greatest start possible in their life from a health standpoint. But that being said, anytime you're dealing with living beings, you have the potential to have minor things that can pop up from time to time. So this video is aimed at going over just three potential issues that could pop up. They do not happen often, but in some rare cases they do happen. They're very minor and they typically self-correct over just a few weeks of time as the puppy is in your care. So I want to go over just those three items, so hang with us through this entire video so you can hear those options. The first one I want to go over is umbilical hernia. And basically what this is at the site of where the puppy's belly button is, down on the abdomen. It is where the umbilical cord was attached to them as well as the placenta. And sometimes when they're born, it is naturally open. And over the first few weeks, it will naturally start to close and fill up that gap where that was. And in some cases, it's just not fully closed yet by the time the puppy goes home. And so what our vet will do is they scan over our puppies very thoroughly, and they will write on the vet report, if they see that it is not fully closed up, they will write that it is a reducible umbilical hernia. And what that means is that there's a little bit of a bubble there with fluid, and you can kind of push it back and forth. It is very normal. It is not painful to the puppy whatsoever. You can actually rub it a little bit to create some blood stimulation for the puppy, which actually helps heal it. And there's no discomfort to the puppy whatsoever. It is not a health concern by any means. But what this means is that option one is it's going to just continue to close and will naturally close by itself. But when it closes, one of those options is that it heals perfectly and it's flush to the abdomen. In a couple other cases is it will close, but it's still got that bubble on the outside. And so it will basically have what we call fatty tissue that is on the abdomen. And it is completely normal, completely fine. Some families choose to just leave it as it's more of a cosmetic thing. Some families choose to have that corrected. And that is easily done at the time of the spay or neuter. And your vet will even talk to you about that, is that they can correct that and push everything where it's supposed to go very easily at the time of the spay or neuter. As part of our health guarantee, we do cover this. And so what we would do is we would communicate with you as the buyer, and at the time of the spay or neuter, if you are choosing to have this corrected, then we would cover that portion of the procedure 100%. And so we wouldn't cover the anesthesia or the pain meds or anything like that, as that's kind of part of the spay or neuter. But what we would do is just the line item that is the repair for the umbilical hernia. We would cover that. We would connect with you on getting payment to you, and that would be fully covered in our health guarantee. So again, with an umbilical hernia, there is no health concern to the puppy whatsoever. It does not happen often, but occasionally from time to time it can pop up. So if it does pop up in a puppy that we match you with, I want you to be rest assured that there is no concerns whatsoever, and we'll make sure that that puppy is doing great when the time is right. So the next one I want to talk about would be a condition called base narrow canines. And what that means is on the bottom teeth of a puppy, they have two canine teeth on each side. They are just puppy teeth. They are going to fall out. And what a base narrow canine means is that they are ever so slightly just pushed in a little bit, and one or potentially two are just pushing up a little bit into the top of the roof of their mouth, and it's not going exactly where it's supposed to on the outside of the tooth so that it's perfect. Just like with us humans, sometimes our teeth at times can be a little bit misshapen. What I can tell you is that teeth are very genetic when it comes to dogs. So if there is an overbite or an underbite, or if there is severe base narrow canines, then that can be more than likely a genetic thing. We only breed our breeding dogs that have perfect bites, great teeth, what we call scissor bites, where the teeth are supposed to be exactly where they're supposed to be in terms of being lined up. And so what I can tell you is that if this ever pops up into a puppy, it means that it is a very minor condition in one of our puppies, and it's just ever so slightly in. You may go to a vet and the vet says, oh, that's concerning, we want to pull that tooth. And I want to extremely encourage you to not pull a puppy tooth. 99% of the time when a puppy has a very minor base narrow canine, it corrects itself almost completely by the time the adult tooth grows in. And how that is done is giving them some sort of a bone or a pig hoof, which we will give you in your go home pack, or even a rope to chew on, playing tug of war with them a little bit, which puppies absolutely love to do. And it just puts a little bit of tension on those teeth, and it will naturally kind of pull them out. And then before you know it, when that puppy tooth falls out, the adult tooth grows in, you will see a perfect bite, and there's no concern whatsoever. In some very extremely rare cases, that puppy tooth does need to be pulled, but that is not common whatsoever. And in many cases, in fact, most cases, this is such a minor issue that most families don't even notice that the bite was even a concern when the puppy was little. And usually by even 10, 11, 12 weeks, that bite is already correcting and already perfect. So if you hear a term used by me of base narrow canines, or you see it on a vet report, don't be concerned whatsoever. It's a very minor thing. We're happy to talk about it further, but it's just part of the puppy still growing into their body and into their face. The last one I want to talk about is you may see some of our puppies might have a little bit of drainage from their eyes right down their snout, kind of creating what we will call tear stains, especially if you're getting one of our lighter dogs. They can become a little bit more prevalent. So the first thing that I want to tell you is that we actively expose them to many different smells, textures, and surfaces while they're here, and that's just part of the process of getting them ready for you. And so what that does is sometimes when we get them exposed to certain smells or environments, it's going to create a little bit of drainage as they're exposed to it for the first time. Not that it's an allergy, it's just their body kind of naturally keeping their eyes moist and getting used to that environment or used to that smell. So you might see that in some of the pictures. If you take your puppy home, a lot of that can be the same thing. If they're getting used to your environment, your areas, and they're just kind of settling in. It is the Australian Labradoodle's genetic makeup to keep a very moist eye pocket and make sure that everything is being flushed in terms of debris coming out of their eyes, and that includes smells or things. So if you are a diffuser of oils, or if you are someone who burns a lot of candles, or maybe you just have a lot of scents going on in your house, or maybe you have a lot of flowers in your yard, or really the list can go on and on and on. It can just create some natural eye drainage. It's not to be concerned whatsoever. In some very rare cases, the actual tear duct sometimes is just not fully closed. Again, that's just part of development. It doesn't mean that there's a genetic issue with the dog. It means that they are continuing to grow. And puppies are one of those things that they just continue to grow even on the outside in terms of into their body. It's why their eyes aren't open for the first couple weeks as well as their ears. They're continuing to grow into their body as they prepare for a life as an adult dog. And so one thing you can do is keep the area dry. So if you see constant tear stains, just kind of wipe it a couple times a day and make sure that that area is staying dry and not constantly wet. And another thing is you can actually get your finger right up here in the tear duct, and not actually on the eye, but right as close to the corner as you can get, and just kind of massage it a little bit. Just do that for maybe 30 seconds a day on both sides. The puppy won't be feeling any pain or discomfort whatsoever, but just kind of rub it a little bit and just kind of stimulate that blood flow. And before you know it, that tear duct is going to be just fine, and the drainage is going to get less and less, and they're going to get used to your environment, and it's not going to be an issue down the road. So don't be concerned if you've got a 9-week, 10-week-old puppy and you see all this drainage and you think, oh, my puppy's crying, or there's something wrong with my dog, or something like that. It is not the case whatsoever. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But this is just a really minor thing that is not something to be concerned about whatsoever. So hopefully this video has helped you as you're kind of preparing for your puppy, thinking through any potential health issues that we may have brought up to you. If you have any further questions or you would like more details, we are happy to go into further details on any of these topics for you. Thank you.